So Figure has been up to some interesting things, and this is what I'm talking about, a mysterious post from Brett Adcock, the founder and CEO of Figure Robotics, but that's not all, because we've also had the Salesforce CEO, Marc Benioff, post some very interesting videos. And I've got Scott Walter and Gustav Andersson with me to break it all down for you today. Scott is, as you probably know by now, a mechanical and aerospace engineer, two-time founder of robotics companies. He's the bot sensei, as we like to refer to him. Gustav Andersson is a hand surgeon and associate professor of anatomy in northern Sweden. Welcome, gentlemen. Let's talk Figure.
Sure enough. So that seems to be a cultural reference of some sort. Anyone know what it is? Yeah.
That's Blade Runner. Anna de Armas.
Which Blade Runner?
That's the latest one, I think.
Oh, okay. Do you know when it was released?
A couple of years back. I'm not too sure, but it's looking way into the future. And
but
it seems to be
do you remember the release date? Which month and which day?
Oh, do tell.
October 6th, 2021.
Okay. And that is signposting what?
And that is also actually in the movie itself. There's some date in the movie, which is also October 6th, 2021. So, which is probably why they decided to do the release date right there.
I think it was on the wooden horse.
There's no comment. That's just like Brett just puts that out. And you have to read into it. And Humanoid Hub was probably the first one to put that together based on a reference actually in the movie. And then I said, oh, is that right? Because I saw the movie, but I don't remember any details. And then I went to the IMDb about that, and it said, everything about the production and stuff like that. And its premiere was on October 3rd, but then its U.S. release was October 6th. So does that mean we can expect something to happen on October 6th? And what could that be?
Fascinating. Could it be that we are looking at something that the Salesforce CEO is signposting?
Okay, well, let's see. So this here, he says, meet at, I first dropped the E when I read it. I thought it's like, met it at Dreamforce. Oh, I didn't know it was that, but no, it's meet. This is future, in the future. And Dreamforce is, I guess, the annual Salesforce convention that they have, which is, I think, October 14th, somewhere around there. So it's a month away. Okay. And so this is not actually there, but this is a preview that you will get to meet the Figure robot at the Dreamforce in San Francisco over that 3D event. So this is in Figure HQ, and they're basically preparing for that. So they're running through the examples, getting the Figure bot ready for that, where any attendee will be able to come up and get information from them. Maybe I assume it'll be over and pick up a catalog or something like that for you or hand you a brochure. But in this case, they're mainly using it for the voice communication, that she's able to interact, ask for a selfie. You see the bot helps pose for a selfie and everything else. Now, a lot of questions.
Go carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. Now, what you might want to do is actually play it with the audio, so we can take a quick listen to the audio. Yes.
How are you today?
Hi, I am a Figure robot speech powered by Agentforce. How can I assist you?
Can you tell me a little bit more about the Salesforce event going on?
Dreamforce is Salesforce's annual event featuring keynotes, breakout sessions, networking opportunities, and an expo showcasing the latest innovations. Would you like to hear about specific sessions, speakers, or activities?
Actually, I was wondering if you can take a selfie with me.
You look marvelous. A selfie has been taken. How else can I assist you today?
That was it. I just wanted a selfie and learn more about the event. Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay. So there's some information in there.
Yeah.
And you have to listen kind of closely so you can see. Well, first of all, this is like the second video that Marc Benioff has released, like in the past 2 weeks, of visiting someone else that wasn't necessarily sanctioned, but he released it anyway. So I get to kind of see what's going on. And so this is obviously the integration stages and testing and verifying everything's going to work. We don't know how many bots are going to be there. Maybe there's going to be one or several, because I'm sure everyone's going to want to go up and take a selfie and do the interaction. But you have to listen very, very closely to what the bot says at the very beginning. It says, I am a figure bot with speech powered by Agent Force. And then goes on to describe the Dreamforce sales convention that they have. So that means the voice that you're hearing there is not the one that is native to Figure, but they've been able to allow Salesforce to put their own Agent Force, which is the AI that Salesforce is using right now for, I think, for customer support and a lot of other applications. So that's why the voice may be a little bit different than what we've heard in Figure before. And the integration, if it's a little bit slow, it might have something to do with the integration, because I don't know how native it is on board, whether they have to go up to the cloud. And still, there's 4 weeks. So don't judge it based on anything. You have to judge it more or less when they're done doing the development work. I think the only other comment I had regarding the voice is that someone said it was the human's voice that was uncanny valley. So otherwise, it's overall pretty natural going on there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main issues, I think, in communicating with them in the future is the latency. I mean, it's a bit off-putting when it's like 5 or 6 seconds before you get the response.
Yes.
So, but I mean, that's probably just...
A lot of it will depend upon how much is edge compute and how much is the connectivity. Everything down to having like a lousy Wi-Fi or the 5G, how close everything is. So the closer you have that compute, probably the faster it will be, and you can reduce the latency.
And it was the same for the Tesla bot video where he visited. It was quite a long pause.
Yeah, even the XAI integrators that were doing it commented when someone asked about that. It's like, we're investigating it. I don't think they expected it to be that slow either. And again, it could be everything down to that whatever was the connection from the bot out to that cloud. Maybe they don't have it on natively. I don't know.
Or the type of question he was asked was not like, oh, wait a minute.
The other thing, remember, this is a development environment, and who knows what they're doing at that point. The developers they're trying to fix a bug, and suddenly some VIP walks up and says, oh, can you show me what you're doing? I'm like, I just did a new build. I'm trying to check it out. I've got like a bunch of debug statements in there and log files and everything else.
To close.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, cut slack to both of them as far as if you're not impressed with it, it's like it's because it's work in progress. It is work in progress, and he wasn't supposed to. They probably couldn't tell him don't shoot the video, but they're probably hoping he wouldn't release it. So
Dreamforce, just to be clear, is associated with Salesforce, right?
Yes.
It's their embodied version of Agent Force, which is their knowledge AI workforce. Is that right?
Yes. Okay. Now, I think in the previous post at Tesla, Marc Benioff said something about welcome to the physical Dreamforce.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like the normal unembodied AI, or going from digital now to physical. Yeah. And I think we can connect a few dots here. I mean, I'm connecting dots and speculating. I don't have any other information except to know that Salesforce has something called Salesforce Ventures, which has been around for a long time, where they invest. They're a venture capital firm that invests in a lot of different technologies. And about a month ago, they put out sort of a white paper describing an investor's guide to robotics and 7 things you should do as far as your due diligence, going on down that whole list. So it's like, that's rather interesting. So if they're putting a lot of effort into that, it's probably because they're looking at investing into a variety of different robotics companies. That's one thing. The other thing is the dawn of physical agent force. Okay, physical agent force. That means they're probably considering being able to actually deploy these bots for these companies. So Salesforce would be in a great position to be able to order lots of these bots. And look, they got the CRMs already in a lot of these companies. They're almost embedded already. It'd be very natural to say that, oh, we can help you with your labor requirements. Just go right in and do it. So to me, it seems like a natural fit. And so you've seen he's behind the scenes in Tesla. behind the scenes out here in Figure. My feeling is he's probably seen a lot of bots out there, and in the end, they chose Figure to come to Dreamforce. So that also kind of says a lot there. But I have a feeling that could be their play. Not only investing in some of these companies, but probably with the idea of like, oh no, we think that we can help you manage all this stuff because we have, in a sense, kind of the different kind of fleet software, but enough knowledge that we would be able to do that.
Yeah, I guess Tesla wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think Tesla would open up for that, right? They would like to keep it in house, or
maybe they would, but I mean, there's a lot of others that would probably say, yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is that, Optimus may not be the ideal bot for every single application. So there's going to be a lot of other companies out there. They're going to be a lot smaller. They're going to have a much better solution for something very narrow. So, it could be logistics where you want to have a wheeled bot that it absolutely makes more sense. So you could see a lot of the smaller companies that might be like, yes, absolutely. We will either sell them to you, or maybe we do something that we RAS it to you at a discount and then you RAS it to someone else, or they do something like that. But I could see lots of these smaller companies. And so there's going to be, so pretty much you're going to come and say that, we need to have different embodiments in here and there. And can you support us on that? And they might say, yes, we'll absolutely do it. So I could see that. And I mean, there's not that many companies that are in that good a position to be able to do something like this.
Okay, so this is one of the reasons my mind was blown, was because we keep talking about the deployment of embodied AI in humanoid bots for useful work. And we've all kind of been under the impression, unless you've been watching Over the Horizon, we've all been under the impression that generally this is about 3 to 5 years away. Not necessarily the case now.
Oh, no. I mean, 3 to 5 for us schmucks, before we can afford it, to get it, but there will be embodiments. We're already seeing in China that a lot of these companies are buying them and they are putting them to work in a lot of places, doing very simple things. They're not super complex. All that matters is that it's doing useful work. And so if they found that they've been able to automate this cheaper than it would be to have a person do it, then they're already going ahead and doing it. So a lot of them are just saying, it just has to be a minimum viable product. Good enough. Let's not have like super fancy hands. We can do a lot of these things. So that's out there. And I really think that next year you'll start seeing more of these deployments. Well, we won't be seeing them. They will be happening. They'll be happening in factories. In some places, if you go to China, you will see them because they will actually be in more customer service kind of things. In the US, I suspect they're going to be more in manufacturing. They might be working in Amazon warehouses and they're touching stuff that's coming to your front door, but you don't see that.
Yeah, and that gets me thinking. The previous video where we were talking about Dexel Robotics and the sensors in the touch, in the finger tapes and in the palm, there are, immediate use cases for elder care in hospitals. Even in the hospitality industry. So you could very well see a lot of very different use cases come out of China more readily than you would see in America.
Yeah, there were some early suggestions of just having it as your guard dog, basically having it walk around the facility. You could have cameras do the same thing, but maybe the cameras aren't everywhere. You could have your bot walk around the facility. It doesn't need to have hands, just records and reports any strange behaviors.
Yeah, and the dog bots are a little bit better. There have been bots that go around like in the parking lot that were mobile, and the thing is like, okay, they can just do the parking lot, but they can't go around on the grass and some of these other areas. And these quadrupeds would be able to go just about anywhere where there's like some suspicious activity going on. They can go over and investigate pretty quickly.
Okay, so let's talk about Figure doing the dishes. This again was from I think a couple of weeks back, right, Scott?
Yes.
We discussed this offline in the DM group, but we never actually got around to talking about it and breaking it down for the audience. So what are we seeing here?
Well, I think what you are seeing is that in very short order, Figure was able to teach this task of being able to load the dishwasher using Helix. So Helix already knows how to do several other tasks that we've seen before. Unloading the groceries was one thing that we sort of saw, and then building on top of that, doing loading and unloading of the laundry, and then before that also package sorting. So this is just one more set of tasks that it's been taught very quickly. So this is fully autonomous. However, there was a training phase which was using teleoperation. And the number of hours that are involved in it are actually remarkably small. They're only the tens of hours, they're not hundreds of hours. And there's also a write-up about this. So if you go to the Figure website and look under news and everything else, for every one of these videos that they put out, they usually write a little white paper to describe a bit more of what's going on. So you can get some background of how Helix is going, exactly, with the size of parameter model that's in there. But the main thing is how large the training set is. Now, there's still a lot more that has to be done, but you can see very quickly they were able to do it. They were also able to adapt a few things there with the hands. So a lot of times, as we know, when we are picking up dishes, if we have really good finger manipulation, sometimes we can get underneath the dish to pick it up, but other times it's a bit hard. So you see that they've learned how to deal with this embodiment, because remember, it's the teleoperator that has to deal with these hands. He can't do it with his hands. He has to do it with these hands. So he's already like, oh, here's the trick. If you see a plate like that, put a little bit of pressure on it, it pops up. Now it's very easy for you to go and be able to grab it and put it in there. Now, there were a lot of jokes and comments online about how, oh, my wife would have me do it again, or this isn't exactly how it has to be done. You got to begin somewhere, because remember, when you first taught your kids, they probably weren't much better than this. And they probably couldn't handle some you wouldn't let them do the wine glasses or something like that, because they were probably going to break them. So you start with all the IKEA stuff first, because it's cheap and replaceable. And then eventually you get better and better. So what it is showing is the flexibility and how quickly it can learn these tasks.
Right.
But this is going to be like full self-driving.
Yeah.
There's a lot of edge cases. When you really think of what goes into loading, I hadn't really given it that much thought until I really thought about the edge cases we have with all the different pots and pans and where silverware is supposed to go, whether you're supposed to rinse something or not. And there's a lot. And, wondering about things like, okay, the glasses were empty, but will it recognize whether the glass is half empty or half full?
Yeah.
Be interesting to see whether it can settle that debate for us.
So
and then whether it takes it and then dump it out and then know to do that versus one that isn't.
Yeah, to that point, Brett had a really interesting post, which I want to bring up. And he says, when I launched Figure 3 years ago, I couldn't have guessed how far we'd come. The big question at this time, would neural networks actually work on a humanoid this complex? We've shown they do. Now it's all about scaling. And this is a clip from that longer version where we see the fingers manipulating the dishes. And this is fascinating because he's signaling, he's signposting something, he's drawing our attention to the dexterity that they've achieved in, as you said, a very short amount of time. And that's kind of been the way Figure's been doing stuff, whether we've seen Figure kind of folding the towels and other stuff.
Yes, and there's the cooperation between the two hands. That's actually pretty tricky and challenging in robotics to really get the two to understand what's going on. The other is I just remembered again, like that particular reach of getting in there, of making sure your elbow is not coming in contact. You want to position it just right to be able to get in deep like that. There's a lot of subtle things like that. Oh yeah. It'd be interesting to see what the original training data was like, and whether it's kind of put in exactly the same, or whether it's kind of finding space, or what's its preference. On being able to, and who knows, maybe it'll come up with like the best algorithm for loading a dishwasher eventually.
Loading the back and
how you should do it. How do you attack the pile of dishes? Do you just attack the ones that are closest to you and then kind of put them in whatever, or do you kind of sort them in a way mentally? Go, oh, I should go after these first, and then something else, which is kind of something that I do. Try to figure that out, but that's the engineer in me, I guess.
Yeah. So, question for you, both gentlemen. Scott, first, what is the more difficult challenge? Is it tackling different objects like saucers, cups, glasses, and being able to adapt to that, or being able to adapt to softer materials like towels? Or different problems, different challenges.
I mean, yeah, they're different problems. Historically, the soft stuff was always the hardest thing in robotics. You know, things that were rigid were fairly simple, but we're not using your standard kind of robotic gripper here. And there's a lot of delicacy, everything is going on, but understanding the difference between flexible objects and rigid is sort of important to understand how you're going to grasp them and how you're going to manipulate them. But I think the real challenge here is sort of the sort of short-term task versus the long horizon task. So just being able to grab a dish and put it in there is not a big deal, because that's not a long horizon problem. It's very, very short. However, the idea of loading the entire dishwasher starts to become a long horizon problem, because there's a lot to it. You know, again, what's the strategy going to be? Do we start in the back? Do we start with the dishes? Do we start with the saucers? What do we do? You know, knowing that, you know, certain objects belong on certain sides of it, not. And that kind of longer term planning is a bit harder for a lot of these systems right now. They're really good with a couple second time horizon, but once you go to that longer one, that's actually the hard part. So in many ways, grabbing these objects is not that hard, but figuring out what the whole steps are going to have to be. And then, you know, in the end, it did remember to close it. So it knows that. And then the next would be like,
I'd like to.
Yep. Yeah, I had to put the soap in and everything else.
It slammed it quite hard at the end. But I mean, also in the early training, if you drop a towel, you pick it up and you try again.
Yeah.
If you drop glass, you're quite upset. So maybe that will be kind of like a more robust training set that, oh, it broke. I have to be better.
Also, this is like repetitive.
Yeah.
Because these towels are the same shape, the same color. I mean, it's in black and white, so you can't really make out, but I would imagine the same shape and color.
In this particular one, there was another video that came out that was in a different setting where the towels had different colors, but they were the same size. So it seems that it's either been taught on different colors or colors don't matter. I'm not sure which. But that's a classic problem, is that, you know, it may be really good at it, and suddenly you have a different fabric that as far as you're concerned, it's the same thing, and it just doesn't work because the color, the pattern, something like that throws it off.
Yeah. Was this the one where the height of the table was raised, and someone asked Brett, and he said, well, okay,
no, I think this was the original one, and it was a later one that someone was asking about that, and that you have the table height change. And then the one with the different colors, I think, was the first one you sort of showed there, where the operator came in and dumped the towels and then came in and started dumping some more, just messing with him. So you just continue on and on. Yeah.
Talking to patients is usually when they complain about the loss of function or sensibility in the sensory input from their hands, is usually breaking things in the kitchen. So, and here I guess you don't perhaps need the perfect tactile information, as long as you have the actuators telling if you have a good grip or not. But I mean, I'm guessing there's a lot of frustration in training this until it's not breaking things.
Yeah, exactly. So the fine china, the wine goblets and stuff like that.
Glasses.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, not touching my beer glasses. No way. A lot went into collecting those. So I'll hand wash those. Thank you very much.
But I mean, they keep showing off like home, what do you call it? Like activities in the home, whereas they also show, of course, in the factory. But I don't. Yeah, maybe I guess the figure or the X1, they kind of show it going around, but watering plants or whatever. But here they're really showing them actually doing things and picking them up and putting it down, and it's not just choosing some fancy positioning of the bot. So I wonder, do they really want to sell this to individuals, or why are they showing this? Is it just?
I think eventually, yes. But the thing is, until they've produced probably more than 1 million bots, they won't be able to sell them to individuals, because the individuals won't be able to afford them. Companies will be the ones. And again, we keep on saying they won't sell them. It's basically going to be a RAS model. But before it goes in the home, it's going to go into home-like settings, which means like hospitality. Hospitals, hotels, and restaurants that have laundries, where in many cases the colors and the sizes of all the materials are the same.
Mm.
So all the towels come out, and it's like they're all the same size. just fold them. And the same thing with restaurants with napkins. You can see. So I see there would be a lot of areas like that they would be able to get the training that are commercial settings that are kind of home like that you would begin there. And there are so many hotels right now and hotel operators that cannot wait. They're all, trust me, they've all called up. They're ringing all of them up and say, when can we have? We need it yesterday. And you'll see there's also a lot of other startups that are trying to focus into that niche with not a full blown humanoid, but as we've seen, kind of these very simple arms with a very simple gripper showing the ability to do it. There was already one last week showing that evidently there's some laundromats where they put one in there and that people say, well, we'll just fold it for you. So they're putting it out there because they're trying to get that diverse training data. And eventually it might be something that, for another 50 cents, go ahead and fold the laundry for me. So you're going to be seeing more and more of it like that before it makes it into the home. Because the home, there's way too many tasks.
And I mean, you can always send it out to the hotel rooms to pick up the dirty laundry, and then you send in the humans to fold the bed until you get it dexterous enough to fold the bed, because I guess that's hard. But to have them clean all the rooms, and then you come and do the
they'll be able to do they'll probably be able to do a lot. But I agree. You will step in. The nice thing about the hotels is that all the rooms tend to be the same.
Yeah, uniformity.
So, yes. So and if you have a big enough fleet and you've got all this diversity of just go ahead and put in all these rooms, and eventually we'll learn that.
Plus, I suppose each individual hotel chain or hotel could also train these bots for a certain amount of time. And the fact that FigureBots, the training kind of time taken to train for a particular task is so low, that's also a very useful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully the training times will go down once the foundation model is pretty solid and being able to deal with these different types of objects.
Yeah,
and now it's just a matter of showing them new objects that are very similar in classification.
Yeah, and we kind of saw something like that when the in a previous video from Figure, when in the kitchen when they were asked to put stuff away on the counter and in the refrigerator. So it's interesting, and I think that was a kind of a generalized. They weren't trained on that before, were they?
Yeah, they had not explicitly trained picking up ketchup and a few of the other objects, but probably had done things that were similar to it as far as its shape and size. So it's like, oh, okay. So it's a little bit novel, but not that much. And then, it may look at that and say, what is this? It takes a picture and knows it kind of reminds me of that mustard bottle I had the other day or something else. I'm not quite sure what it is. And then you were able to see that, take an image. What is this? Comes back. It's ketchup. Okay, tell me a little bit more about ketchup. Ketchup belongs in the fridge. Oh, okay. So I've never seen it. It knew how to put items in the fridge. It knew how to pick up items similar to that, but that item may have been something it put over in the pantry instead. And so now it's able to put those two things together. And so that's when the generalization becomes really pretty impressive, when you start seeing new items that are close enough and you can make a reasonable guess what to do with them. So this, I think, was back in January, February. So this is quite a few months back.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a bit of a sniffle there. All right. So what does it, break it down for us, Scott? What does this all mean when we go back to Benioff's post about Dreamforce and robot as a service? What is he signaling? What is Benioff signaling? And I mean, it's obviously it's ready for prime time, but in some use cases, is that
not? Let's say not ready for prime time, but ready for a lot of different situations, especially commercial situations. And as they begin to understand what commercial situations it works in, you will probably have people then be able through Salesforce to say, "I need some additional labor this day."
Okay. So,
or can you every day, can you make sure there's a bot here to help me at my restaurant from this time? So it may be that there are going to be some companies where it's going to be 24/7. It's like you just put it in there, you just use it all the time. There's going to be a lot of others that say, look, I don't need a bot 24/7. I only need it several hours here and there. Is there someone that I can get it from? And you need someone to manage the whole fleet to say, oh, guess what? During that time frame, we have some bots that are available because they work down to local factory and they're done at 5 o'clock, and now they can come to the bar and do whatever needs to be done there. Someone's got to manage that and moving all that stuff around. So what Salesforce might be doing is like turning into one of those like Kelly temp services, where it's like, oh yeah, you need labor on demand. Here we go. Just tell us what you need, and we'll manage it, and then we'll find the right bot for that particular task. Because maybe you do need an Optimus or a figure bot, or maybe you don't. Maybe you need a board or one of the other bots that would go in there because it's got the correct form factor.
Yeah, and we're coming full circle to this image that Brett shared. So what are they signaling to us? Both
I mean, is
figure
it just
and,
the dates, or is it pointing at something, or or what's
It's
the
pointing at?
significance of Blade
Is
Runner?
it pointing at K? That's who the figure is, the character that's in there. I don't think it's not.
It's not very clear, but I can see him here. He's here on the right.
It's not Deckard.
No, it's the younger one.
Yeah, and then basically she's a new version, right, of one of the more modern versions of the replicants, but a hologram.
Yeah.
And we have no idea where this has anything to do with figure at all, actually. Because up until then, Brett had been posting the whole weekend about something else, that he's on the warpath against Apple because he could not personalize his earbuds.
He was cockblocked.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They literally censored his name. He couldn't put it up there. And so he was just like, and this came like right after some of those others. So I was trying to figure out, I said, oh, is this got something to do with that? But as you can see, there was no commentary at all on it. It's completely left for you to guess what it meant. And you see, he even at that point sort of changed his title to CCO, which was basically a joke that he was making about what was going on, versus what he had in there, before the weekend. So it may be that he was thinking about that, or he was giving a tell of something that's coming up. And again, it's reading the tea leaves at this point. Maybe not nothing.
But that girl, wasn't she just an AI in the movie? She was just
I think she was a hologram
AI,
and then she got embodied.
Yeah.
And she was Joy, right? She was JOI, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know if JOI means
anything. Started
anything.
off as a hologram, but then she got embodied.
Okay.
So is it part of their?
So that to me
personalized
is telling us something really, really important. And I wonder.
That's one way of looking at it. Yeah.
Force.
Yeah. But still, the coincidence that October 6th is in there. If you're trying some way to signal a date like that, that's one way. But again, a lot of times you always overread these things. I've seen so many people like look deep into one of Elon's tweets and like, it means this, and it turns out no, this over here is something else. So
no, I mean, but the fact that he's putting it out that way, he's signaling something.
Oh, I think so. I think so. Yeah. You just don't post that for no reason. It's not just like, oh, I love this picture. It's like, okay, there was something else about it. So
I mean, I got to tell you, I think there's this. My bet is they're signaling something. They're going the Tesla way.
My feeling, this is like a big guess, is that
go for it.
I'm assuming that the figure F3 reveal is going to be before Dreamforce, and Dreamforce is like the 14th of October. So what I think is that that's like an end date, and that they would probably like it to be before Dreamforce, not after. The big question is you might have the reveal, but would you then bring those to Dreamforce? So you could see I don't know. I mean, that's a part. I mean, that.
Well, if anybody would know, if anybody could make an educated guess, Scott, it would be you.
Yeah, it's purely educated. So my feeling is, because they kind of said they would try to do it before by the end of the third quarter, and I think the fourth quarter starts the 1st of August or October. So okay, everyone always misses it by a few days, so it would be there. I'm not sure it would be after. We'll have to see.
I'm guessing a personalized AI or some kind of personality that they want to present.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would want to make a feminine bot and a male bot. They will have like an androgynous bot continuously, right? Or would they be interested in making it like 2 genders? I don't really see that, but rather the personality could be.
Could it be that they
They want a
I wonder if they got her voice.
Yeah, that could be. They never got Scarlett for OpenAI, but maybe.
Yeah,
But it's possible. Now, if you remember I think one of the very first demos, it was with Figure 1. There was a voice in there. Remember that voice demo? And there was speculation for the longest time on who it was. Everyone thought it was Brett's voice, and it wasn't. And I ended up winning a T-shirt and a visit out to Figure because I was finally able to put the pieces together and who it was. And do you remember whose voice that was?
It was some actor, right?
Jared Leto. So he was the Joker, right?
Yeah.
So and so I was able to piece that together, and so I mean that's how basically I get to see Figure 3 as a result of that. Cool. And so it means there is some people from Hollywood that would be willing to lend their voice in some cases, and so you never know. Maybe, for sure. Maybe
for sure.
Speculation. There's
started there first.
It's total speculation here.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a perfect way to end this chat. Thank you so much, Scott and Gustav. Pleasure as always to have you both pick your brains and do a bit of speculation while we're at it.
Okay.
Till next time.
Great. Okay. Bye.